How we doing, everyone? Jack here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. As always, I want to take a few minutes of your time today to kind of talk about Need for Speed Unbound, the newest update, the Volume 2 update for Need for Speed Unbound. I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts, and this kind of relates to a couple videos I've made in the past, especially the last two videos where I talked about the post-launch content cycle for Need for Speed games and how it typically goes. I'm glad, for one, that we actually are getting updates for Need for Speed Unbound. That's really nice, you know. I'm starting to sweat there a little bit. I'll be completely honest. That being said, though, I don't think this is a good update. I don't think this will be a good update. But before we begin, if you like the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you want to hear me more. If you want to hear me yell about Need for Speed Unbound more, let's get right into the video. Need for Speed Unbound is a great game at its core. The physics are great, the cops are great, the customization's top notch. You know, everything you want out of a solid Need for Speed game. The foundation is there. There's a lot of issues that I have with the game, but for the most part, it's a good game. The biggest issue with the game, however, in my opinion, is that there's nothing to do right now. Multiplayer is broken. There's no matchmaking. There's exploits all over the place, especially in B class, which is the type of racing I like to do the most. And I've kind of reached the peak of what I want to do with Need for Speed Unbound for the time being. I can't really get creative with the game as I like to. And, you know, I can't really make a lot of content on it because I'm kind of exhausted with everything with the game. So I was kind of hoping that this next update would add more things to do into the game. And the update, the new Under the Hood article for the Volume 2 update, I'll leave the link down below in the description, was released today. And to sum it up, for the most part, you can read it for yourself. It's very, very lackluster. This update feels like the, hey, we finished the game now update. They're adding freeroam police into the multiplayer, which is a plus. I'm very happy about that. But again, this was cut out during development, probably because they didn't have it ready in time. So this isn't necessarily a new feature, more so a feature that was supposed to be on launch but delayed until further update. And then we're also adding 2 new street races and a few endurance races and a few rumble races. So there's some new races to play, which is always welcome. I always enjoy new races into the game. In fact, I hope that most updates bring new races into the game. And it adds a few other not collectibles, but a few more things to do around the map, such as these little short time trials, hot laps they're called, which are like these 30-second time trials, which I think is a plus. I think that's actually probably the most exciting thing, in my personal opinion, about this update. I'd really like to sink my teeth into these, and I hope they're pretty in depth. Hopefully they're replayable to a point where I can kind of get a little sweaty with them. You know, I like to get a little sweaty with the time trials. Part of the replayability, in my personal opinion, is just trying to beat your friends' times, and I hope that there's a leaderboard, like an autolog leaderboard. Autolog is basically missing from this game, unfortunately, but I'd like to see a friend's leaderboard with these time trials, and that can get pretty sweaty. With Need for Speed, I unfortunately need to set my expectations down here. And we also have 2 special variants of cars that are already in the game. So we have this new Lotus, which you can unlock by playing 3 playlists in a Lotus. So that's not necessarily a super high bar, but it's a cool challenge to, you know, get people to play the game for a little bit longer. And then you also have Waru's Fairlady, unfortunately locked to EA Play members, which in my opinion is just a kick in the teeth. And then we also have the Keys to the City, which is DLC, which unlocks everything. If you want to be that type of person and remove content from the game and remove progression, you know, be my guest, but I'm not for that. And if it sounds like I'm bored or like I'm, you know, used to this at this point, it's because I am. Need for Speed for the past 5 years, even longer, has had lackluster update after lackluster update after lackluster update. I'm just jaded at this point. I'm just jaded, okay? Cut me some slack. I'm just jaded at this point. It feels like the bare minimum. Speaking from the heart, as a Need for Speed fan for over 20 years, it feels like they're doing the bare minimum here. And you know, I love this series. I want to play Need for Speed Unbound more. I enjoy Need for Speed Unbound. I literally want a reason to play it more. And sure, this can get me back on the game for like a couple hours, but I feel like for nearly 4 months worth of waiting for post-launch content, this is not nearly enough. This is not enough at all. I don't feel like I'm I don't feel like I'm asking for too much when I'd say that this is not enough content for an update that took 3 months. Now, if this was a monthly update where we're getting kind of like bite-sized content, not like this, but on a very regular basis, then this is okay. But we don't know their game plan. We don't know their roadmap. We don't know what's coming along down the road. They said there's bigger things down the road. But again, with Need for Speed, you got to see it to believe it. They've said a lot of things over the past 5 years, and how much of it is actually materialized. So, you know, I'm just jaded of being, you know, not gaslit, but I'm jaded of hearing all these great things and that there's cool content coming soon and then being let down time and time and time again for the past 5 years. So my expectations again are very down here. I'm hoping, they haven't touched really about this, but I'm hoping that there's some more balancing in this update as well. If this update lacks balancing, that's gonna confuse the hell out of me, considering that they also talked about how they're gonna be refreshing a lot of the multiplayer playlists. I can't even say if I'm disappointed with this update because I really wasn't expecting, again, my expectations are very down here, so I feel like it's just kind of like, it's very underwhelming. I will say that. I don't think this is a good update. Again, I'll have to play it, and I'll give my thoughts on it when it does come out, but just reading about it and seeing like what they're adding, it just looks super lackluster, and this looks like an update to finish the game. That's really what it looks like to me. When The Crew 2, which is a 5-year-old game, is kicking your ass in the live service field, and even Forza Horizon 5, which has been suffering with live service as well, when they're doing much better jobs than you, you really need to step it up, because Need for Speed is trailing when it comes to those games. Again, you guys set your expectations right, but at the same time, I don't think this is a good update. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I don't want to ramble on for too long. That's it for me tonight. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Let's have a discussion down there, but that's it for me tonight. I'll see you all later. Have a good night, everyone.